Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, and I am here for an album review. Now, I figured that I would talk about this album because, well, if you don't know, this album had its 20th anniversary this year, so figured why not give it a review, and this album is by the band Linkin Park. Now, I have done some Linkin Park reviews over the fall, so I figured why not talk about this album. So for this review, I'm going to be reviewing Linkin Park Hybrid Theory, and this is their debut album. And as you can see, this is the 20th anniversary edition, so I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. You got the album cover right here, of course. That's what the back looks like. Got the band members, Chester and the rest of the guys. Track listing. This is a 2-disc version, which is pretty cool. So, got the band members right here. So, yeah, definitely a great album. I mean, this album is definitely a real groundbreaker in music and in nu metal. I mean, I believe this is actually one of the best-selling nu metal albums of all time, and for good reason. I could definitely see why. I mean, this is just an absolutely terrific album. Definitely is. Probably my second favorite Linkin Park album. Now, I believe when I did my Linkin Park ranking, I actually had this album at number 3, actually. My second place Linkin Park album was actually Minutes to Midnight, but obviously you guys know that my number 1 would be Meteora, which I still think is their best work. But, I don't know, after, going on a Linkin Park binge, listening to their albums more, I probably would actually have this album placed at number 2. This is probably my second favorite. Now, with this album, I don't think there's a single weak moment on this album. I think all the songs are really good. There's not a weak track on this album, and I can't say that I could say the same for Minutes to Midnight, which is probably why this album is now at number 2. Now, Minutes to Midnight is still a really good album and pretty underrated, but I do think that this is a better album. So let's go ahead and talk about the tracks. I mean, obviously Chester, he's really one of the main highlights here. He's obviously one of the big reasons why Linkin Park is such a beloved band. I mean, he's definitely missed in rock and metal. May he rest in peace. And some of his best vocal work is on this album. I mean, I don't think that his vocal work on this album is as good as his vocal work on Meteora, but he still did an excellent job on this album. So the album opens up with Paper Cut, which is, it's got its energy, it's pretty catchy, and it's just a really good way to start off the album. Then you got One Step Closer, which is pretty catchy and pretty heavy as well. It's a pretty iconic track for Linkin Park. I mean, it's catchy, and of course, we can't forget about that bridge section where Chester just screams, "Shut up when I'm talking to you," Like, that's such an iconic part of the song. I mean, every Linkin Park fan knows about that line, of course. It's a really good song, and yeah, and I know it's a pretty popular song for them. Then we got With You, which is, in my opinion, kind of underrated. I think this is actually a pretty underrated track. I mean, I like Mike Shinoda's rapping, and also Chester, his vocal delivery in the song. At times, he sounds kind of aggressive in the song, pretty angry, and it's just a really good song, and I think this song deserves a little more recognition, I think. Then we got Points of Authority, which is a really great song, and I mean, this song is definitely one of my favorites on the album. I think this song has almost everything you want from Linkin Park. I mean, it's just fantastic. Then we got Crawling, which is another iconic Linkin Park song, which is also really catchy and also one of the more heavier tracks on the album. I mean, this is one of those songs that I honestly don't care if I ever hear again, personally. I think that's because it's a little overplayed. Obviously, even if you're not a Linkin Park fan, I mean, this is one of those songs that you have to know. I mean, even non-Linkin Park fans know about the song Crawling. But yeah, it is pretty catchy and everything, but I do think it is kind of overplayed. Then we got Runaway and By Myself. Now, these two songs, I can't say that they're favorites of mine on the album, but they're pretty good. And then we got In the End, of course, one of their biggest songs, and yeah, I can definitely see why it's a real popular song for them. Obviously, Mike Shinoda's rapping in the verses, and I think it's just a really well made song. Of course, the chorus is catchy. I mean, Chester really does sound like he's giving it his all in this song. It's fantastic. Then we got A Place for My Head, which is another kind of underrated song. This is another song that I think deserves a little more recognition. I just really like the chorus. I mean, Chester sounds really good in the chorus, and Mike Shinoda also sounds really good. I really like the way Mike Shinoda raps at the end, too. I mean, that part of the song is definitely fantastic, where it at the end it kind of builds up and it has this aggressive rapping from Mike Shinoda, and I think it's really good. It's a really great track. Then we got Forgotten, which is kind of underrated. Not one of my favorites, but it is a good song, though. Then we got Cure for the Itch, which is kind of like an interlude instrumental type track. I think it's pretty good. I mean, I like the way that this song sounds overall. And then we got Pushing Me Away, which I think is actually one of the more underrated album closers from Linkin Park. Yeah, so there is quite a few underrated tracks off this album, which is kind of weird considering that this is one of the best-selling nu metal albums. So you think that more songs from this album would get more recognition, but obviously, you know, this album is best known for the singles like One Step Closer, Paper Cut, Crawling, and In the End. But Pushing Me Away, it's another pretty solid track. I mean, I like Chester's vocal delivery. I mean, Chester's vocals are obviously the main highlight in this song. It's definitely fantastic and a really good way to close off the album. But yeah, definitely a great album. Definitely check it out if you're into nu metal or hard rock. I mean, this album, it's fantastic. It's basically an essential for nu metal fans. And for a score, if I were to give this album a score, I'd have to give it probably a 9.5 out of 10. It's that great of an album. I mean, it is darn close to a 10 out of 10 because, like I said, there's not really a weak moment on this album. It's fantastic. So, Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park, great album. Please check it out if you haven't already. So, let me know what you guys think of this album. Do you like this album? What's your favorite Linkin Park album? What's your favorite songs from this album? Feel free to let me know all that stuff. So, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and take care.